Hello, welcome to another track guide for the oNiD Simhound Rookie Amateur Championship, and this week we are at Brands Hatch. Weather conditions were a lot cooler than Paul Ricard. Ambient is I think about 17, track temperature's 20. The track condition is fast, which makes this place very slippy, which a lot of you are going to have problems with because if you look at the amount of laps I've done trying to get a setup right, I've had problems with it myself. But we'll go around, I'll help where I can. If you look, as usual, 64 litres of fuel, which is what I would consider a race stint. So let's have a go around and we'll go from there. So if you start in a lap, what I will say is if you end in a lap, you want to be keeping on the inside to cut the line as short as possible. But if you just start in a lap, get on the outside, give yourself a better run up to turn 1. So my braking point for turn 1 is where the brake and the number 2 is. I usually start braking around there, and if I play you will see me hitting on the brakes now. And I won't go full brakes, but I will go 3/4 and I will trail on and off, just trying to get the car slowed down, and I will get turned in and try clip the apex around where these two sticks are. They may be gone during the race because someone's inevitably going to take them out, but it's middle of the corner is when you want to be clipping the apex with the right hand side of the car. And then once you get around there, that's when you want to be back on full throttle, which will give you a run down the hill. You can use a lot of exit curb. Try not to hit the gravel because you will lose a lot of speed, but use the exit curb to come out. So we will go back and watch that in real time. So as you come in, brake at the 2 marker, get turned in, get on the accelerator at the apex and come down, and this will lead us into the hairpin, the tight hairpin. So as you approach it, you want to be keeping to the left, get on the brakes. I do it roughly just before this one and just before you go under the bridge, and you want to get on the brakes fully as hard as you can, start turning and start to trail off slowly. I get back on it a bit, keep your right hand side close to the curb, and as you get around 3/4 of the way around, you want to start getting on the throttle. I get a little bit of oversteer, and then you're flat on the throttle. You can use this exit curb. It's slippy, but it can be used. So just get your line through and do whatever is your preference. So we will go back and watch that in real time. So on the brake just before the 1, get turned in 3/4 of the way around, plant the throttle, use the exit curb if you need to. I didn't in this particular case, and this will lead us up to the next turn, which is turn 3. So you want to get back to the right hand side of the track as quick as you can, and your brake and marker is where this curb starts. So I'll slow this down. The best way to do is get on the brakes. I go down to second, trail off the brake slowly, turn in, and as you get onto the apex, you want to start accelerating. I get a little bit of oversteer. You want to get the line so you don't get any oversteer, because that cost me probably about 1/2. So you can use the exit curb as well. As long as you keep your left hand side wheels along this white line, you will be fine. As you'll see, I use a lot of the exit curb there, which it didn't invalidate the lap. And what the key is to get turned as quick as you can and back on the accelerator as soon as you can to give yourself a better run up to here. When I was doing my practice laps, I took this corner numerous ways and I found this way the quickest. So we will watch that in real time. So over to the right, brake at the start of the curb, down to second, turn in, use the exit curb and accelerate out. And this will lead us to turn 4, which is the trickiest one. This has caught me out so many times today, with it being only a fast track and there's not much grip, and the way the Porsche bounces, it has been horrible. You may not take the same line as me in this corner depending what car you're driving, but this is a rough guide of how I take it, just so you can use it as a reference and then make your own from it. So I use the braking point roughly as the 1, or this orange one, and I'll get on the brakes. I'll slow this down. I will brake down to second on brakes, trail slowly off, and I will get turned in and aim to clip the inside of the apex here. So when the arrows are right in front of you, aim to clip this apex with your left hand wheels, feather the throttle, and then once you hit the apex you can start getting on the throttle. You may need to feather it a bit more, depending what traction you have. You can use this exit curb. One thing I would advise is, if you do use the exit curb, get off it, because you'll see what I do here. I stay on the exit curb to the end, and it flicks up at the end, which causes my car to bounce around a bit and lose time, which you will see here. Which that probably cost me a tenth down the straight to give me a bad exit. So we'll watch that again in real time. So you want to be braking around the 1, get turned in and clip the apex with your left wheels. Now get on the power, use the exit curb, but don't go to the end of it like I did, because that cost me some time, I won't lie. Now down the straight, it's not the longest straight. This is probably going to be one of your best overtaking points, if I'm honest. So we'll slow it down. You want to be braking halfway between the 2 and the 1 is ideal. And I will stab the brakes off quickly. Try clip the inside of this curb, and when you do is when you get back on the throttle. I messed this turn up a bit on this video, which I apologise for. So as you go past the 1, you want to start turning in. You can go down to 3rd depending on your car, but I found 4th the quickest. So we'll go slower. So you want to get turned in. Aim to clip the apex just after this orange marker. So you get your right hand wheels on. And when you do, if you take it correctly, you can plant the throttle here and plant it all the way around. I take a bit too much curb, which causes me to bounce, which is why I come off the throttle and I get back on it. Will have cost me a few thousandths of a second, but if you take the line correctly, you can plant the throttle all the way around from the halfway point, which will give you a good exit. Use the exit curb, try not to take too much grass, because that will cost you. So we will go back and watch that in real time. So between the 2 and the 1, brake, turn in at the 1, clip the inside of the curb, put the power down, use the exit curb coming out, and this will lead us to the next corner. Again, my braking point roughly is between the 2 and the 1. I will shift down to 3rd for this one. The turning point I use is just before the first orange wall after the 1. And I will turn in. Try to get as much of the right hand side of the car over the grass. Might sound crazy, but it works. Keep the left hand side on the tarmac and the curb. I'm coursing as I go over it. As soon as the wheels hit the tarmac, I'm back on the power. Keep turning. Again, you can use a lot of the exit curb here, because even though this looks like grass, there is concrete underneath. And you keep it planted all the way around, which gives you a good run up to the next corner. So we will watch this in real time. So between the 2 and the 1, brake, turn in at the orange, take a lot of the curb, plant the throttle, come into the next corner. Now with this one, I call this the kamikaze corner because you've got to carry speed through here because this is where you can gain or lose a lot of time. It's a blind right-hander. If you take too much curb, it will yeet you into the wall. But if you can get this right, this will make your lap or break it. So as you come down the hill, I go to the middle of the road, get across to the left. I brake again between the 2 and the 1, or there is an orange marker on the right. So I will start braking down to 3rd, lift off the brakes, turn in. Get as lot of the car, again, over this right hand side, keeping the left hand wheels on the tarmac not to break track limits. And I personally course this part, and as soon as I'm on the curb I get back on the throttle, keep turning, and this will drag you around, it will keep you on the tarmac and give you the best exit for the corner. As I said earlier, this is a very important corner because you can have a great lap, but you can easily lose half a second here. So we will watch it in real time and you'll see the speed it's taken, why I call it the kamikaze corner. So brake at the orange, turn in, take a lot of curb, just plant it right the way around, and if you've taken the right line, the car will grip and you will be dragged round, which leads us to the next corner. So after you've done this, get over to the right. Your braking point wants to be just before the orange marker or just before the 1. And you want to be braking down. I go all the way down to 2nd. Just lift off the brakes slowly. In the Porsche, I take this curb quite heavily. I get a lot of the left hand side of the car over the curb with keeping the right hand side on the tarmac, not to break track limits. And as I get halfway around, I get back on the throttle, which gives you a good exit. You can use the exit curb, try get off it as quick as you can because it narrows out and you will hit the grass. And that will give you a good run up towards the final turn. So we'll watch it in real time. So back over to the right, brake just before the orange, take a lot of the inside curb, back on the throttle, use the exit curb, and that will take us to the last corner. So you want to be getting back across to the left. Your braking point for this one is the 1 marker. So as you get to the 1 marker, you will see me get on the brakes. I go down to 3rd for this. I get turned in aiming for these cones. Again, they may be gone. So you've just got to judge it, and then you keep turned, back on the throttle, which takes you around. We'll go around again because there's a lot to take in. So you brake at the 1 marker. I start turning in halfway down this, just before you approach the sand. Aim for where the sticks are on the curb, and once you pass them, you want to be back on the accelerator. And if you've taken the right line, it will drag you around. And then when you're finishing a fast lap, you want to get to the right hand side to cut the track as much as you can. So if you stay around the outside, it will take longer. I get my wheels too much on the grass here, which costs me a bit of time, so don't do that because you could end up killing yourself, and that takes you over. So we will watch this in real time. So brake at the 1, turn in halfway along this concrete bit, clip the inside, get back on the accelerator, get to the inside of the track, avoid the grass like I go on, and that finishes the lap. The practice server is very slippy at the moment, I'll be honest. I think this time was a 124. I'll wait for this to move. 124 dead. Truthfully, I had another half second to find here, but the Porsche is very unpredictable here. It's horrible to drive, especially when the track is this slippy. So it's going to take you a few laps to get used to it. but be patient and the time will come. I expect the front engine cars like the Mercedes, the Aston, the BMW to be very fast here. So just get yourself on the practice server. And what I'll do now is I will start the lap and let it go around without me yapping, so you get a good look, and then I will do the lap again showing the outside of the car so you can see the placement. And again, I'll start the lap over, showing the outside of the car, so you get a good idea for car placement on the corners. And there we have our track guide for Brands Hatch. As I said, the practice server is very slippery. It's set on a Saturday morning, which means it's likely going to be a fast track for the whole weekend. We can hope it'll go optimum, and if it does, these harms should come down, because this track requires a lot of grip because you throw the car around a lot, so we can hope for that. The practice servers will be there all week as usual. I will be in there Tuesday, Wednesday to do the coaching sessions as normal. Feel free to come in to ask questions, to get advice. Me and Scrub will be in there. Good luck for the race Thursday. Any advice, just shot me a message on Discord, you know where I am. If you need help with the setup, because I finally got one kind of figured out, but it was tricky. So if you need any help with the setup, I'll happily send you this one. So good luck for Thursday, and I will see you then.